You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Ari.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering the anime that aired the week of. These are the wrong dates. I've still got in here.
I sure had the calendar open, like from the 8th to the 14th of March.
That's the one. Yes, that's the one.
You just hit the calendar sevens. You're good.
Yeah. H to the 14th.
What the H?
Yes, March the H. Starting with Sakamoto Days, episode 9. All aboard. In which we get the fight on the train.
They're going, baby. We've all been praying for.
Now, did it successfully portray a Popeye fight? That's the important fucking question. And is it answered?
Yeah, the Popeye fight is actually that's a good way to put it. Actually, like it just.
At no point does Sakamoto eat an entire can of spinach, but he comes dangerously close in the weirdness he does in this one. So
No, if anything, it's just he's consuming all his body fat, when that happens.
He should have a can of spinach to re-up it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the maths. I don't think we're going to find out how he loses the body fat this season.
No. Well, he's already lost it once and gained it back once.
Yes.
Already so far. So yeah.
God, I can't remember the deer-headed guy. What's the guy's name?
Kashima,
that's the fella.
Yeah. He thinks he's so fucking cool, and he's just like, "Oh no, I'm in trouble," several times over throughout this bit. It's great.
But he was the one. He said, "Hey, is that what people always fun throwing shit at me?" It's like, I've got fun weird, violent thoughts, I may as well, if someone's got to kill the bad people in society, why not? And he said, "Yes, that's right. You should kill all people in society. You should do listen to what I say. The first person who indulged my violent urges."
And his violent urges were to beat up a bunch of guys who I think either killed or kicked a cat or something like that. Yeah. And it was just like, I get that, but everyone shamed him for it. So you're kind of rooting for him. It's like, he's the good guy. He's the hero of his story. But his hero of his story is his body 70% weapons or something like that. I can't remember. A ridiculous percentage of his body is not bits of human. But and he's fighting Sakamoto in a subway, and so they fight on around a train. Yeah.
Multiple trains.
Yeah.
Again, but obviously, just the use whatever is around you. CQC is just like, I've got my body full of knives and laser guns. Sakamoto, what do you got? I have. We got a pen, mechanical pencil. I have a
discount sticker,
a voucher, some stickers right here. I have like a flyer. That's how's he going to use those? Oh yeah, in various ways. That not what you expect.
The multiple clicking of the mechanical pencil and flicking it into his eye, and it's like, well, you've only blinded me in one eye, and then putting the discount sticker over his other eye. He's like, I'm blind. The first one being very violent and the second one being very comedic. I was just like, yeah, that works pretty good.
I'd say these are like a good just little whap of the the little flyer there for to sever steel cable that he was being pulled along with.
The Sakamotos don't skimp on the printing. Obviously, that's high quality paper for their
good
flyers.
Stock. Yeah, very high paper scars out there. Yeah, I mean, from best onto the train, and at this stage, then it's just I didn't think it even kind of parts out because I remember when he pulls down that pole, the pole with all the handbills, he's using it as a weapon to fight stuff. I remember, wasn't there a bit in the comic where he caught a load of knives like that, in into the dangling handle, something like that. I looked in the comic and actually, no, it wasn't in here. It's a different fight, a different mode of transportation later in the story. Which is so they up their game. They don't stick to the same tricks every time.
Yeah, and I mean, it managed to do some comedic stuff where in his desperation he starts throwing passengers in the train at Sakamoto, and it feels like a very action heavy world because everyone doesn't react to the extreme, doesn't react much to the extreme violence of it, and they're all just sort of staying in seated positions as Sakamoto catches them and then seats them down in the various
It
scenes.
is just like as well, like if we can't see it like in this arc, because even when they're having a motorbike chase on the highway for episodes back, it's just we see these clips of the world. It's just kind of like wow,
Used to the action.
That's really
violence.
something right there. And it's like just go with the flow. Like fun saying, man, people be killing each other on the highway. I'm having one of those days myself.
Yes, it is. It is curious because you think it's more common knowledge based on the earlier chapters, and then this week's chapter is like it kind of reverses that and says,
yeah,
this is not as common knowledge as we've been giving you the impression that it's been."
I think it's like the early days of the comic going like it's set in like your John Wick action world, and all the NPCs and this fucking thing, they're just fucking used to this at this stage. But where we are in the comic is like, no, they're not. I've changed the setup of the world to do a dramatic reveal. So yeah.
Yes, in general, I think it just can't quite match the turn a page.
I mean, it can't do the panel layouts of the fucking comic, man. That's impossible. Impossible to recreate in animation as it is on the printed page. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the bit where they're fighting in the gap between the two carriages. It's just a single page splash in the comic. And obviously that works a lot better because all the movement is in a single image. Whereas here we have to kind of
well, see, also what they should have done with that, and the way it also worked for me in the page when he did it in the comic, was just like, he feels like he's very carefully closing that door so not to make it like a scene. And they should have like at least like had the noise be all muffled inside or school, like, or maybe go silent, make it muffled. It's school like very dull, so the old lady outside of, oh, a nice young man that was. But it's like their directorial intent is different to mine, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes. Whereas next week's episode, which I've watched already, is I found my favorite episode of the show so far. That was more in line of finding the strengths in what it can do in the cartoon. We talk about that next time.
Don't forget as well, we had like Shin and Heisuke like finishing off Seba as well. It's just like that was also pretty cool, and using kind of very creative ways of using the optical camouflage, like wrapping a sharp steel pipe in it and throwing it out so it was an invisible flying pipe.
Like as he explains, like, I don't have a superpower, I have optical camouflage, and if I wrap it around the steel rebar, I can fucking throw it at you and you won't see it coming. And I was just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And Heisuke kind of going like, taking the one shot is like, you missed. I was like, no, I didn't. I hit the sprinklers. And as we know, that makes you visible from most media where the guy can turn invisible, like the Predator or something like that.
Yeah, or Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And we kind of get the characterization of Saber here of like, he's not a fanatic. He's not going to carry on fighting. Once he's beat, and he just goes, yeah, that's it. Okay, done.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like he rolls to a stop at the railway station turnstile, and it's like bing bong, the body flops out.
Yeah, like Sakamoto being the good citizen, like popping his card into the thing to pay for them leaving the train, because they did use the train, so they should pay for it. And also dumping he's 70% weapons, which means he's 70% junk, dumping his body into a fucking skip, and your man going, thank you. Lots of good background, like goon, like just regular people just not reacting to the fucking weird, like, I guess they're reacting to him dragging a guy out of the train station, but other than that, like, no one's calling the cops on him or anything. It's just like, well, he did put him in the bin afterwards, so who can complain?
Yeah, it's decent, and I'm sure it's even more enjoyable if you've not read the comic beforehand. And it will,
but it's going to bring people to the comic, so that's the thing.
Yeah, there's some headroom on this now as well. So like, they're going to maybe take getting like used to working with these kind of things, and they can have as it goes forward. But okay, we know all this is coming down the line, so we'll try and top ourselves on this other set piece. Let's see what they can build up to.
Then we've got Orb, episode 24. I should have really looked into how to pronounce this word before saying it out loud. Thalmazian?
Yeah, the problem is the
That
original
tells
fucking
you.
thing is in Greek. It's Greek, right? I think it is.
Yeah.
So like,
Yes.
I don't fucking speak that, and I can't read those letters. So yeah, Thomasine. But like, yeah, that idea of not inherent worth. What's the fucking thing? Inherent.
It's like a wonder that you to be
Sorry.
astonished.
Yeah. Mixing up the two. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because this is the difference between, as we get bulk of the episode is a flashback to Albert's youth, where his father's encouraging his interest in sciences, but he does like say, just think about why you're learning a thing, and if you think it's not going to benefit mankind, then
If what you're learning
don't
doesn't
carry on down that path.
if you see like this line of thinking, this line of knowledge, learning or progressing doesn't benefit people, it doesn't have value, then it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Which I was like, I watch cartoons a lot, man. Fucking, that's not beneficial. It's just fun. Come on.
It's definitely like for one of those parents, like, you know, you say like what you're going to go study, and said, okay, but what kind of job can you get out of it though? What kind of job can you get out of it?
But also, like, not only that, but like, does this fucking benefit humanity? And does this speak to God and help that shit out? You know, it's both.
And this is in contrast with the initial scene with his current father figure of the baker explaining that his vague memories of what these Greek philosophers once said.
Soccer something. Yeah.
You should pursue the thing that you're most interested in, particularly when you're young.
But you should follow your nature. Like, you know, what comes to you easiest, follow that. Like for me, it was baking bread.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm good at. That's the thing that I enjoy doing, and I enjoy like selling it to people. I enjoy the happy faces of as they eat my tasty bread. I was lying to you, actually. I don't actually reduce the ingredients by the exact amount. I put in the amount that's fucking needed to make tasty bread, because I like making tasty bread. It's pleasurable for me. But I liked his speech, and it was very like, I am a not learned man, and the kind of thing is like, and no one will judge you for it. Well, people will judge you for like pursuing your dreams, but like, fuck them. Who fucking gives a shit what they think, right?
Them. Follow your dreams, kid.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. And then you get the dad saying, okay, so son, you okay with that? Son's okay with that. Okay, I'll get you a tutor. And who would be his tutor but an adult version of Raphael who still talks like the child version of Raphael?
I thought he was the child version of Raphael, like the young teen version of Raphael. But like, he's a much smaller child, so he looks way older by comparison, and he looks like a grown adult.
Well, when you get Maya Sakamoto in, you don't just not use her now, do you? So
Yes. And he's like, he's not literally saying don't listen to your dad, but he's essentially saying don't listen to your dad. Just if you're interested in something, follow it, because that's the joy you get out of it, is just investigating things.
It's an interesting way, like, you know, this, like, when it's very kind of kneels down, puts his hand on his shoulders. What one other thing you need to do is doubt everything around you, and then the exact same framing where Val says he kneels down, shoulder says wonder. Like to have the angel and the devil on his shoulder, like both in his ears. It's like, who would I believe, my father or my teacher?
Yeah, anyway, he says, even do it don't even death shouldn't scare you off, as he sips from I think it's the identical cup that he took the poison from.
The same cup, and turns it upside down, is like suggesting I've drank all the poison. It's just a cup of water in this fucking case. But
it's a dreamlike episode, because you're like, this character cannot exist and be the same character that we saw at the start of the series. But
he
it's
represents the same thing. It's the same. Like, he's being very literal. It's like, look, I would drink all the poison. It's doing that allegorical thing that the show's been doing, and I like the thing of like, you need to doubt what you learn. That's an important part of fucking learning. And your man going is like, no, fucking do it and fucking die. Like, we're in all the way, and it's like, keep both in your head and choose what when necessary, because both are important lessons. Don't go with the angel or the devil. Go find your own way in between. Like, but that's where he's at, obviously, as a little kid.
Would you like to come to a special club full of people like
cool
me and
guys
you
who do cool thinkings? And it sounds
ideas.
It sounds really exciting. I even liked the contrast where it's him tracing out the constellations as an adult, and that being the thing of him learning how to trace those out as a kid, and going like, it looks nothing like that. It's like, yeah, but it's a handy mnemonic for remembering where the fuck they are. But yeah, and when you get to the cool idea place of smart people talking their interesting things, some of them have learned science and facts, and other ones have fucking not. But they're all discussing it with the same excitement and fervor.
Yeah, well, it's how I let you know that humors weren't actually a biological anything. So,
Yeah, but reading up the latest on Arabic arithmetic, sorry, is just like, yeah, that's good. You should learn that. That's actually really useful.
Yeah, this was just a whole very eerie like atmosphere to it. It's just like he's like telling all this then to the priest in the confessional. And he's like, "No, here's like a weird story that happened to me. I might have seen a fucking ghost, but he's like it had a very like when Rohan vibe to it. It was just like goes to confessional. Here's a weird story that ties into what's happening to you right now.
Yeah, I think the phrase "another time and place" gets said about this story as well, and which obviously, like further, is the weird child speaking adult Raphael sort of gives that eerie feeling to him.
The only two things that threw me in this episode is where he's delivering the bread to the church and he's like really weirded out by the confessional booth, and I, as been raised a fucking Catholic, I'm just like, yeah, confessional booth, what to do? Oh, he doesn't go to church. It's like, no, these are a brand new invention.
This is the latest thing.
I'm used to seeing those cunts everywhere, so I wasn't really thinking about it. But the other thing was I think someone on fucking Blue Sky mentioned, it's like, I'm watching Orb, man. It's really fucking dark. I can't see what the fuck is going on. I was like, oh yeah, I forget how dark this show is until, because I've been watching it so long. I was just like, yeah, it is actually like the lights are generally way down low on lots of the scenes. So
that's to hide some of the limitations.
Yeah, and also it's set during night most of the time when they don't have outdoor lighting, so they're trying to be literal about it.
Yeah, and then it ends with them at this club.
Lovely party. That's it. Everyone went to a lovely party. the on-site lemonade. Pondered universe.
Then less lovely things happening in Zenshu episode 10, Chaos, in which various townsfolk decide that Asuka is the one to blame for all of this.
Now, like two things. One, was the show giving us a nice, fun, happy show, and now it's actually going to do the depressing, super bad ending? Like I'm
well, it's doing the usual thing, like like if you know of a prophecy, like inadvertently everything you do to avoid a prophecy may lead you to do it to fall into the same trap, and then some. Where this is like, no, that film ended. We're doing like a remake of it. Is it going to be lighter? No. Remakes are always dark and serious now. So it's like things are even more fucked.
But the other thing I was thinking watching it was where the fuck was this energy for, oh, she's a traitor, let's all get spears? And where the fuck was this when they were being invaded by monsters? It's like, any of you cunts would have been very handy to be throwing spears at these monsters rather than letting the fucking heroes do all the fucking work for you. Fuck's sake.
Now that I think it's one woman, to take out one of them though.
But like, that's better than nothing. They've been sitting on their fucking hands this entire fucking show, letting the heroes get killed for them. It's just like, now that it's one woman, they're like, we could probably take her though.
Well, that's like what the elder Baobab is saying to is saying to her. Then it's like, well, we didn't think he'd actually win, but maybe it's better to live out her last days with like even a little bit of hope rather than fall completely into despair.
I really like that, like her saying is like, this is what happened. He did this. He sacrificed himself to break the prophecy because he was the one who would survive. And she's like, yeah, I made that prophecy up. I made the whole fucking thing up. She doesn't literally say it, but she basically implies it's like, because other than that, we'll all be just crying as the world ends, and at least we get to pretend that we will survive. But it's like, I don't fucking know that. I just made it up, which is good. Like it adds kind of more to her as a random Yoda looking tree woman. It gives her like a lot more depth anyway.
Yeah, it also kind of makes her feel more like part of the original plot.
Yes, yeah. That it is doomed. Like that's how the plot goes.
As everybody's starting to become in this episode, everybody's reverting to the behaviors from the original film, except Asuko and Yudio, because Yudio figures it out.
Well, Unio's
and
not
then-
supposed to be in this part of the
No.
film.
but for not Memelin either this year. No, we're out
Yes.
buddies again, and she's put the robes back on. They're going inside the big magic rock tower again, and it's like, oh, she's probably going off on record again and saying, well, actually, no, they've been figuring out how to like, fucking like fix it and make it better. Actually, it's like, well, say no, they haven't actually. Like maybe some of them can't. Will try and steer themselves away from their.
Yeah, but meanwhile, while they're doing that, the cult that they inspired in the first place, in the first version of the movie, has resurfaced and went, hey, fucking the shit that she drew is coming, it's coming alive as the baddies. So she's gonna summon the final is it the final void, the ultimate void, whatever they call it, the thing that ends the world.
It's right here, a guy drawing of us when she was drawing it to do the fake one there ages and ages ago when she was gonna do it.
I found irrefutable evidence. She did a drawing of it. And it's like she did a drawing of Unio as well, but that doesn't mean that like Unio. There's two Unios. It's just like, no, come on, guys. Well, they're an angry mob essentially at this stage, so they're looking for any fucking excuse.
And of course, the voice show up, and it leads to Nezuko and Unio getting swallowed by a void, but in a way that the mob think they've killed Nezuko, and Luke sees this with them with blood on their sword, and of course he's going to presumably think next week that they've killed Nezuko.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, she can see it leading up, and it's like, holy shit, the thing in the movie's happening. The cult is back, and they're fighting with the common people who are out to kill me, and now Luke is running with me, and the voids are attacking. It's like that bit where Destiny fucking died. Oh shit, am I gonna die like fucking like Destiny, that kind of thing? But yeah, get sucked into one of the voids. They managed to throw all their spears into the void, destroying it, and they're like, "We did it! We killed her!" So they think they won. Like, yeah, very, very like not sure. Well, I mean, again, angry mob. They're not really thinking things through.
Yes, and now Luke's not going to think things through, presumably, and carry on the plot of the original movie, because we learn that he's the one responsible for the end.
He becomes the ultimate void. Is the main thing that she, as she was saying to Baobab, like that. It was just like, I don't want to get him super depressed, because getting him super depressed ends the world. So that's and she had been doing a good job so far in the show, but yeah, the plot is reasserting itself. I did like the kind of repeated stuff where Baobab goes like, it's useless. Like, and again, it's like, oh no, the word's useless. And even her admitting that to herself, and there's like a shadow of a bird passing over her, that conspicuously missing fucking bird as well.
Yes.
Because even going checking on Destiny, where's that fucking bird? Destiny's like, yeah, I'm marrying this prick now, and it's like in the movie. Oh shit, everything's going wrong.
Because the town got wrecked in the last battle scene.
So I did need to marry the guy to fix the orphanage.
Better down. So it's just even no matter what you do, again, you just get run into the same fate.
Yeah.
2 more episodes to go. Will everybody be saved? Will she get back to the real world?
She wake up from the coma? She learned anything?
Don't eat oysters. Just don't eat them when they're fresh. Even they're nasty.
Then, confusingly, we've got episode 46 of season 2 of Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, but I believe last week's was episode 43. And next week's is episode 44.
Oh, wow. I must have slept longer than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I assume it's some distribution thing or something, but yeah, they're coming out in the wrong order for us.
And not only this feels like one of the episodes which should have come out in those weeks when no episodes were coming out, because it's a Valentine's episode. Chibi Mothra's Valentine. Because they've just had White Day in Japan, which is the sequel, the made-up sequel to Valentine's Day, to make sure that more chocolate gets sold. Anyway, yes, Chibi Mothra is attempting to buy a gift for her Valentine, who is Chibi Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, and they've went to the sexiest monster they know, which is Biolante. Sorry, Chibi Biolante, because there is a difference, as is pointed out in this episode. It's like, what kind of chocolate do you think we should get? And it's like, you could get Biolante shaped chocolate. That's a very popular one this year. And it's a realistic Biolante like shaped chocolate, not a Chibi version, which no one would eat that. But it's just like, and the fairies are kind of trying to push it because they are, gals who are excited that their gal Chibi Mothra is interested in boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
She sells on a star-shaped chocolate. And then, of course, Chibi Godzilla comes in and demands a chocolate as well.
Mm.
And the fairies try to shut him up, but because Chibi Mothra is so nice, she has bought a second chocolate to give to Chibi Godzilla.
And chocolates for the twins as well. She's got chocolates for
Yes.
everyone because Chibi Mothra's heart is just that big. As big as maybe regular Mothra's heart. It's pretty big.
Yes. Whereas Chibi Godzilla is an idiot.
Mm.
And that's it this week. Next week, Chibi Manila runs away from home.
Next week is 2 weeks ago, so here we go. Let's go crazy.
Then we got Dr. Stone, Science Future, episode 10, Dirty Roads.
Is that the name of like a country singer or something? I feel like it should be.
There's the
but
wrestler
Country
Dusty
Roads.
Roads.
Yeah, but I feel like he could be a knockoff one, right?
Yeah, it might have been a Dirty Roads, maybe like a fake cousin.
If not country, then at least like some blues singer or something.
The wrestler Roger Smith he went under the name Dirty Roads.
Excellent. Okay, good.
Amongst many others. And there is a Dirty Roads band as well.
Excellent. I'm happy out because I saw the title and I was like, that needs to be used more, and it has been, so that's good.
They do jazz, Motown, and soul.
Excellent.
That's to be popular in the year 5000.
Probably.
They've got one song. They got one song in the year 5000, and they love it dearly. Not as much as the people making the show do. They don't play it here because we've got to dig a tunnel.
And we got to convince our hostage that our way is true.
I did like the opening where it looks like Chrome is about to be stabbed by a spear, and I was like, did I fucking miss an episode? I was like, oh, I saw the spear was comically large on the end. I was like, oh, they're just getting to do spear technique on the ground, which he feels is demeaning.
Yoga, he tried to kill us before, but we laughed at. We're all friends.
But we have saying like we need to deliver the drill that we've made for them to them, so we'll get Taiju to do it because Taiju is the muscle, and it's like this is specifically the thing we have Taiju for. So he'll do the delivery, and they're like, what should we do about the spies? And Taiju has driven up to the spies, going like, hey, are you coming my way? Because I could give you a lift, right? Is that cool? Like, we cool, like. And they're like, we don't speak any Japanese. He's like, shit, I don't speak any fucking English. And he's kind of like gesturing into the van, and one of them's like, okay. I forget how they decide, besides shouting at each other, that one of them, which to stay with Luna and which of them has to go back.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know Carlos gets tied up, but eventually, once Luna is firmly on Senku's side, after Senku agrees to go out with her.
Carlos gets to the point where immediately everyone else besides Taiju tie him up, and Taiju going like, no, come on, he's cool. And him basically hearing Luna's voice over the radio doing the cipher that is not explaining any spy stuff, but explaining that she has a boyfriend now. Kind of, they haven't went out yet because he's recovering from being fucking shot. But other than that, yeah, we're pretty going steady. In a cipher form, and he's like, well, if Luna's on board, I have to support her 100%, no matter fucking what, even if it includes betraying everyone in America, which isn't that many people currently, but still is a few.
Yes, it's the right thing to do for Luna. She's a capable girl, even if she doesn't realize when she's being. Well, I guess she eventually kind of realizes that Senku is just leading her astray, which is like, sure, you would just say that just to get what I want. He wanted.
Luna having a fucking panic attack in the canteen about, am I actually going out with Senku? And everyone just trying to fucking stay in, like, talk into their food, going like, yeah, Senku was already married. He's married? No, he got divorced. He's divorced? It's just like, and they're like, fucking, just don't talk to us. We're in the canteen for lunch. We don't want to talk about Senku.
Knows how to pick him.
But it is her kind of man as well. That's the problem. It's like exactly her type. Brainy prick.
Lit for every pot,
and they're sending a message that Gen can overhear that would
Gen's not
only make
stupid.
sense.
He
to
probably
Gen.
knows what this is probably bound to be.
But also, the Americans have constructed whatever it is they're constructing.
It making big noise.
I forgot what the hell is myself.
Yes,
it's like a fucking spaceship.
I'm not looking it up for the very purpose of like I was just like, yeah, I've also forgotten what they meant. I remember the lads converting their ship into an aircraft carrier and fucking launching the plane with the, I can't remember the name of that catapult system that they use in aircraft carriers, but I was just like, yeah, that was rad. But I've forgotten what the fuck the Americans have made.
And Luna does get to use her medical skills on Senku as well.
Yeah.
As we've discussed, they foolishly didn't.
They didn't bring a doctor on the ship.
Back from the Stone World. Easy to overlook. Yeah, I'm sure Hyoga does say something where it's like, oh, that's almost seems out of character. It feels like he's fully on board as part of the gang now. This one liner, I forgot what it was. But he does come across as more of like a pal rather than a begrudging weapon that they're using.
Yeah.
And then we're teased a dogfight at the end of the episode as here comes Stanley in his plane, but the lads have built their aircraft carrier and got their plane in the sky now as well.
A modified version of the plane that they robbed off the other guys.
Yes.
But
yeah. And Senku is still recovering from his gunshot wound. He's like, nope, I gotta go on this. But if it goes up the first stop, I gotta be there.
I do the touch of lass on the American side who's just always eating a Luffy-sized hunk of meat. Seems to work even better in the cartoon than it did in the comic.
It's because she's constantly chewing very loudly. I think they had the actor do a wonderful fucking job of like chew like a big piece of meat. Like I need you to sell me on how big this meat is you're chewing. It's great.
She's really just like, going all in on this new Stone Age fun saying this is what they did back then, so I'll blend in and be cool.
I was trying to remember at the picnic in the White House, was she eating like a chicken leg or something? Fuck, I can't remember that. I have to go back and check again now. Maybe she's just like this.
Yeah, she was eating it with chopsticks, just like very delicately. Like...
And then she's gotten less fancy as time has moved.
That's because she's at the White House fun saying, "Oh, let's let me eat it with my hands."
Yeah, it does feel like it's moving really fast. I'm not sure if this is going to be another 11 episode, 4 or 12.
Yeah.
The last few have been quite short.
Well, like this is like a long arc, so
it's
get
kind of
to
breaking into three
get
parts,
to like a junction point where they're probably thinking it's going to like stop off at for a bit. Yeah, the point at the rate it's going, we get there in a weird number of episodes. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to cover, but I think it's moving. I think there's less to cover in this part than I'm remembering. I think we're probably going to get the switch, possibly by the end of the next week's episode.
Okay.
Or indeed tomorrow's episode as we're recording. Yeah, I'm curious.
There's a lot that we're forgetting.
There is. I'm
wondering
whether the next segment isn't as long as I'm thinking it is. And I feel like the last segment is longer than I think it is. Because they say it's like 3, they're doing it in 3 calls. So I assume it's going to be 30. It's just because they've done those 11 episode calls. It would make more sense, I think, if this was 12. But it might surprise me and it'll be 11 again, as it always catches, even though it's like they constantly do it now.
It could be the thing as well.
It's 15 long.
The odd case might be fine if the next core is coming sooner, like they've done, they've done before as well.
Or they do another hour special somewhere along the way. Just
that helps out.
Which there's definitely part of the story where they could do that as an hour special. Then we got Trillion Game episode 23, Media Walls. Lads are still out golfing. Gaku has to fake some mental arithmetic, just go all in on guessing the right angle to hit this golf ball in order to get our definitely not a Yakuza on the side.
Financier.
You wouldn't know if you were right or not. You just want to see if you had that kind of guts to do it right then and there.
Yeah. because he was kind of thinking, is like, do I calculate it on my phone? And then when he just like makes something up, and his buddy's really impressed, it's like, you just fucking bullshitted him. That's like a thing I do. That's impressive. And then they think it's like, shit, I gotta write a fucking golf prediction program next time before we golf, so I can actually.
And also, Harry's like, we got don't worry, we got Gecko on our side. He's the master hacker. He's going, but Harry, I don't know anything about video streaming. He's like, yeah, but me and him don't know that.
Like, and he says he's not the Japan's best hacker, but he did win the Japan hacking championships, but then was disqualified, which I think makes him more legit, honestly. Like,
yes. And he hacked into Dragon Bank.
For the
and
laugh.
was very polite about it.
yeah, he is a good hacker, but like that isn't the same as running a streaming service, which is the thing.
So their idea is to launch the streaming service, and they can have launch with a show that's going to have the most amount of Japanese celebrities you can possibly get. It's going to dwarf whatever the show they mentioned.
And it's the idea that whatever the show that the financier that they're working with is, he's going to make this brilliant show that everyone's going to be like, oh, we got to get in on the new latest fucking fad show. So we have to support. We have to subscribe to. It's just Trillion streaming or something, isn't it?
Trillion TV, I think.
Trillion TV. Okay. Because it's a streaming thing, but they're calling it TV. I think that's what was throwing me.
To which Kirihime says, I'm going to crush those two guys once and for all.
And initially, it's just like, oh, her dad has made Kirihime take over their.
Well, they've started a streaming joint venture with Discovery Max. I mean,
Discovery T-Rex, which is different from Max. It's a T-Rex. It's a different thing.
T-Rex, No.
So so they have like basically they bought the heavy shares of the Japanese thing of it, and they're putting Kirihime in the thing. He's like, oh my god, she has to go after her two favorite boys. She's like, oh, I have to go after my two favorite boys, which is like, this is entirely her thing. She'll either crush them and then they'll work for her, or they'll fucking win. And she's like, yes, brilliant men succeeding. A thing I love to see. It's win-win for her. So
and she meets another one on the way.
She just can't help herself. She just finds these dashing, like unassuming men in every corner of life.
Like her getting her nails done, and the very fucking very nervous like woman kind of going like like looking at the clock to make sure she does everything on time, which she does. And Kirihime is very happy. It's just like, this is how she's treated. But when she walks into that thing with her wild ideas of working with terrestrial TV, everyone's just like, we're just gonna fucking ignore her. Your man's like, I'm just gonna bone her and then marry into the family. And it's like, a better man than you had that opportunity and fucking threw it away because he's crazy. So it's a nice contrast. And one old guy who's like, I don't know if we should do that. That's
if I won't be going the way you would think, because like they meant the terrestrial TV and streaming are like like going head to head, like
they pretend we don't exist on thing. They don't mention what's out on. They don't mention Netflix and shit like that because they're very much so locked in the Japanese culture. So they won't play ball with us, kind of thing. And she's like, "See me tomorrow," and he's like going home to the wife and kid, and he's like, "Well, I'm getting fired." She's like, "That's all right, honey. I'll get like a second job. We'll be cool." It's like, he's been promoted to vice president.
Yes. And all the other guys in that meeting have been demoted.
They're like, we're regular workers now. It's just like,
we're fine with this.
You're lucky she didn't fire you, but she recognized that this guy is like, you were willing to speak up to me, and you know the business better than I do, so I really appreciate your input. And you're not a yes man, which is very fucking important. Yep.
If it's all successful, that's our plan is. It's like, well, if we can't get them to cooperate directly with us, we will just go around town buying up little pieces of all the TV, all terrestrial TV networks. And
Dragon Bank has bought 5% shares in every terrestrial TV network in Japan, and they're all kind of like, they can buy more, right? They're Dragon Bank, and they're like, shit. And she's like, it's cool. I'll give you my shares. I'll sell them on, so we don't own a stake in it.
Well, she went around town because like that was the only way that you get them to the table. This is like,
to get them to the table. So I'll sell my shares. We won't have a stake in your thing, but in return, you have to buy a stake in our streaming service. And it's like, now that they own a piece of your business, they're going to want your business to succeed. I was like, oh, that's pretty clever. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good episode of like reminding you, Kirihime is the third main character in this show.
her excitement of overdoing this is also like metatextually kind of me thinking that it's like she's excited to be back in the show and doing stuff again. But yeah, she is definitely the other character, the third character of the trilogy.
But she is right though. Like you can't neglect terrestrial TV. Like there is like still a way a lot of people kind of watch it, and it is where a lot of the advertising goes as well. So and that's what you got to keep in mind. Who is advertisers?
Yes, and also where you're going to get the programs to put on her channel, because they talk. He also mentions, yes, you get some of the programs from them, but they'll never give you the
really good ones. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. The currently popular ones, like the currently popular whatever the
flagship. That's the
yes,
or you want to get the old seasons of them on after a certain window.
Yes,
you won't get same day streaming and that kind of shit. Yeah.
You know, everyone wants like some catalog content, especially when it's just starting out streaming adventure.
And then Gaku and Haru like, well, that's us fucked. What we're gonna do now?
I did like the contrast between like the video game guys going like, yeah, we did it, we broke a new record, and everyone's like, yay, and Rin kind of looking is like, oh, they're having a very serious meeting over there because they've spent all the money on this fucking bullshit venture as usual, because all in and whatnot. They're kind of fucked. And Gaku's like, well, it's simple. We just need to own the thing that will make us the maximum amount of money, the kind of program that makes you the most money, that kind of thing. And they're like, so like a variety show or drama. It's like
TV.
No.
News.
Like the news, like it's like this is the news with the papers, and it's like da 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 da, and they turn away and the lights dim down. That news.
So it's gonna be like that kind of thing, where like you have the news thing, and that influences public opinion and public policy. You invite guys on for ambush interviews and trust their words.
But you get to control the narrative. I think is the idea behind the news. So yeah.
Yes, that's his idea. Yes, yeah. Because they want to control the public opinion on Dragon Bank. Is what setting this TV station up to do. So yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Like have a weird. There's more people out than you expect. They just want to hate Dragon Bank and just want to see him fail.
Yeah.
So our mission of this give it a fact about why Dragon Bank are a bunch of girls.
The main thing is like in Dr. Stone, at least you have the excuse of it's the world's most talented people are being revived in the year fucking 3000 or whatever. And also we already know how the science is done, so we just need to recreate it from scratch. Whereas this is like, how does Haru know how to do all this shit? Why is he always fucking right? Just because he's cool, I guess, is the thing.
He doesn't. But he finds somebody he can.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Again, very Dr. Stone, I guess, finding the right people for the job.
Yeah. He kind of he knows what the next step is, and then he has to find somebody who can figure it out.
I'm just surprised he knows what the next step is. That's the impressive part to me.
Well, I think essentially he's a con man.
That's why he'll die.
Yes, or be in prison,
or go to jail, or be the president, or be the pope,
or be married to Kirihime.
In jail as the pope. Yeah.
Then we got from Bureaucrat to Villainess. Dad's been reincarnated. Episode 10. Dad cross dresses.
Again, this is a terrible title because it's just what's going to happen in the next episode, not what's happening in this episode. But
But before we get to the reason why Dad would be cross dressing, we're going to be introduced to Anna's mum, who has more to her than it seems. We're not going to find out yet. She seems to know a lot about magic, and this comes back to the idea that yes, applying magic practically is definitely a theme in this show, because the mum gets her daughter and her daughter's best friend to apply their high class magic in a practical manner to rescue a child who's climbed up a tree too high.
Yeah. Well, besides, this knowledge of magic is this as well. This like you seem to have some inside knowledge of the etiquette of the nobility. It's just like, oh, okay. You hung around them, did you work for them? Were you like a former dame of somewhere?
I did wonder if it's going to turn out that when the mum shows up next week, that she's going to look awfully like Anna's mother in a wig.
Like they're related or something. Yeah.
Or that she's maintaining two families and so has to feign being ill to get off to make his wife.
That would take a lot of time away from the bakery, though.
I mean, but also about twos between Grace and that are really weird because what way feelings Anna is having lately.
That's true as well. Yeah.
You gotta shut this down and say, sorry you're related, you can't go to the dance together. Damn it.
But it's gay, so biologically it's not a problem, right? It's still illegal. Sorry. We can't be doing that.
Also, there's possibility that she might be another character trapped, another human being trapped in this story, because she's come up with this confection from the real world and not from the video game world.
But she doesn't recognize the name of it. Yeah.
No, but she said it was inspired by your little ringlets, Grace.
She wrote about in her many letters. She wrote about your ringlets so much that it inspired me to make this new pastry, which you're calling a chocolate cornet. And it's like that's a solid name. And it's I did like the repeated joke of was like I gotta tell fucking Anna to stop sharing people's personal information. That's not fucking cool, man. Also, her mom does invent a water slide, I want to call it. Like, again, exactly the same thing. It's a cornet type situation, but she does invent a water slide. So, yeah, it is a bit suspect.
And then the rest of the episode, where the title comes from, is that they've got to put on a play.
As part of the school festival, the student council have to do an extra fancy thing. There's always an extra rule that they have to do because, like, if they had to play music, they'd have to play it with magic or something, you know.
Also, the play they choose to do is going to be about body swapping.
No, it's The Prince and the Pauper. It's a classic. Yeah.
Prisoner of Zenda, you know. Freaky Friday, all of the literary greats.
Yeah, and so they try and find out what is they send the littlest prince to go and find out what it is, but by the time he comes back, they've already discovered that, in fact, from Grace's dad, that it is that the students have to cross-dress when putting the play on, and that it was Grace's mother who came up with this idea, to which Kenzaburo's wife and daughter, I think the wife says, if I ever get to meet Grace's mother, I'm going to thank her for putting the pretty boys in dresses.
This is a lady I could have some tea with.
Yeah, I really like the mom and daughter combo as the audience are of going like, nice, yes, yeah, fucking get him, dad. You know, that kind of like they're.
Well, they'd be like, what we like fun. Oh, I think, you know, I the nerdy one, like, you know, he'd be very prim and proper fun, saying, yeah, that's just what you see him with that. And then, like, you know, I don't know about like the blue-haired dude and the red-haired dude. They're a bit broad-shouldered, but you know, maybe like people are into that too. Right?
People are into that too.
Make that work.
And then they see the little prince kind of coming in. I finally discovered the secret, and they're like, we already know. It's like, fuck, he's a dead ringer for putting him in a dress. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd be even an annoying little sister type. Too perfect.
It's the perfect casting. And what was Anna's initial thing? It was like, I don't know if we should do this fucking play. Maybe we should do a different fucking story. They were kind of put off by it.
Anna didn't want to play the lead, and then she imagined Grace playing the lead, and she got all of a fluster and decided that she ought to play the lead instead because it was going to be too much for her if she saw
too salacious
Grace in all these costumes that she was imagining.
And Grace always gives off such manly energy, such older energy, such dad energy. So it'd be great to see her dressed as a man. Yeah.
Also, the real world daughter and mum are increasingly convinced, because this is not the plot of the cross-dressing occurs in the game, but the reason for it is completely different in the game for what's happening here. And also, Grace's mother's is not a character in the game.
And
so,
like Grace is getting so much background fucking information that is not in the base game. Yeah, and obviously it's in the main game because the fucking makers of the game wanted to put it in the game. Like, that's the reason it fucking happens.
It prints money is what it does. You gotta put it in
yeah.
So what she's thinking is that this is happening somewhere in another dimension, and the game is acting as a window into that dimension.
But the other impression we are getting from it is Kenzaburo, his nerdiness is influencing the world. It's like, well, the battle system's really improved. It's just like because it's a thing he's into, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's worried because the mum's going to show up. She's coming back from her recovery, and she's going to come and see this play. And Kenzaburo is like, "Oh no, okay, this is what I was worried about because her maternal instincts may tell her that I'm not her daughter."
And everyone else has seen this slow progression of Grace becoming like not a shit and not a villainess, much like the title says. But the mom's going to have not seen her daughter for a bit, and then it's like, wait a minute, my daughter's an old man now. What the fuck is going on? The sudden change will be too much. Yeah.
And I've seen into your soul, child. Or just be saying that to me.
Yeah, so that's where we're heading into next week. Is presumably we're going to see this play and meet the mother.
Yeah. This is I keep forgetting to check. Is this comic still ongoing, or is it come to?
It is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this kind of hit me fun saying, yeah, this is the kind of thing you could really just like there's so much these kind of ridiculous rom-com setups you can just like do with this fun saying, well, speaking as a father, I would approach it this manner. And so he does.
Yeah, it is a good change on the tropes of it though. So yeah.
So yeah. If again, as long as it proves popular, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, the 8th volume just came out.
Okay. We get some more out of this. I think it's like it's pretty well regarded. Or as much important, actually kind of better than one of these things usually does. Since kind of escaped containment a bit from its usual audience.
Oh yeah.
Us included. So.
Yeah, fair.
And that's it for this week because we've got no more Dragon Ball Daima. Don't worry, because in a few weeks the new season starts and there's far too much stuff. That might be good.
I'd like it like that Saturday morning slot because we didn't have Kinnikuman this week and obviously Dragon Ball Daima finished, and I'm like, I didn't quite have anything to.
No, I ended up watching the next episode of Sakamoto Days.
That works. The fortunate thing for my Saturday mornings is the Shout Studios YouTube thing. They're doing like a constant stream of Speed Racer episodes, so that's great to just jump into sheer fucking madness every time I just hop in. It's good.
Things blow up real good in that. I'm a big fan.
A lot of people died in the last one I watched.
But he won, right? Yeah. I did it for them. The bus of kids that went out the cliff there. Yeah, I did it for them.
Oh, I forgot Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League is out, isn't it, this week?
This week? Shit, okay.
In all digital, well, some digital storefronts.
Yes. Okay. I'd like a physical copy, but maybe a digital one.
It's a good time at the movies. It's a good time at the movies for the anime. Good time at the movies if you like seeing the first episodes put together. Watch one out this week.
Did you see the Gundam one, Niall, on Saturday?
I did go to that Saturday night. Everyone caught a cold off of it. You get a lot of heavy breathers at being an anime thing. But the person next to me type one, following day it's like I definitely caught something off that. I think I know who it was. But yeah, like it is what it is. It is like the first 3 bits of it, and the whole like first episode will be taken up by his prologue, which if here like when they actually do it, it'll be truncated somewhat, and then we're seeing maybe that full unedited kind of version of it here. But this is kind of the whole conceit of it is just like for the setup, and is that it's the original Mobile Suit Gundam story, but it's like, oh, Char got to the Gundam first, and he robbed it, and he painted it red and tricked it out. They also stole the white base and repainted that and tricked it out as well. So like the fucking Federation Earth is just like totally fucked from the start on it. So they're losing everything. But the other events change around somewhat, and different battles happen or don't occur at all. You see like hints of other characters, like, well, if Amuro didn't become the hero, like who was this going to come in? And it's like, you've seen like, like Sayla, who was like Char's sister, was like, you see a little glimpse of her at the conclusion of this. And he basically then he explodes at the end at a climax of like the battle at the end of the war. He explodes in some kind of like new type psychic explosion.
Mm.
And it's just like he's disappeared, no trace to be found. Then we pick it up, then and it's like 10 years later or something like that. And yeah, it turns out the Xeon they can't they sure how to fight a war, but they can't run like a society for shit. Like space colonies are free, but like there's still this complete disparity. Poverty is rampant. When people are and they had to deal with the massive amount of immigrants now, refugees generated by the war, even still 10 years later. So they cracked down on this with like riot police, Zaku's, and people are just like turning to underground like robot fights to try and make some dash. And young girl gets kind of embroiled into this as well as things have him go. And then the red Gundam is also reappearing, and it's just like, didn't he vanish from like a psychic explosion 10 years ago? What's he doing back now? So I feel like to put more to focus on like what is the story as it picks up. That's just more to kind of put together the society that our main character now, what she is grown up in and what she's living in now. I think a lot of the extra alternate history thing is just like there's a lot to it now. It is interesting little stuff, but I'm not sure how much bearing it's going to have on the main cartoon as it goes on. The robots look pretty funky, The trepidation going in was at like fun. It's a CG one. It's just like, while everyone would kind of prefer like they did much from Mercury, where they were traditionally animated robots, and it's like all pretty swish, but it's a different studio. They got different people who have different expertise.
Yeah,
and so they're an okay job at it. Helps us a lot of battles in space, and they abuse I wouldn't say abuse. They exploit the darkness of space to cover up little things like that. But also it's interesting effects like you don't really kind of see the fucking anything kind of come around there. It gives a kind of a bit of tension to the robot battles. It's like more like we're trying to hunt them down somewhere in the blackness of space, and you see kind of glimpses off him as only like individual points of starlight are kind of picking him out on the horizon of space. I don't know what you would call it.
yeah.
But it's like considering like the kind of how the physics of space work a little bit. You still hear the explosion, seems to still blow up real good, but yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Again, you can't get like a little bit, a little kind of chunk bitten off here, so you can't really come down on it like firmly either side of it because you're not getting the whole thing.
Yeah, and like you said, you're only getting the background of here's how it's different from the world rather than actually here's the setup of the world the show is about. Yeah.
I say by this we'll see characters like from that original story will be in different positions somewhere. They'll just kind of pop up. Maybe ones who might have been in the background before, who were kind of side characters, now will come up to the fore and take on important positions in the story. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, we'll find out in April if this has a little more to it than that. But signs are good. It feels more FLCL than it does like Gundam. Definitely, with the consent, it's the main story that it is.
Good. Because boy, do I like Fooly Cooly and associated things. Even if not necessarily all the associated things with Fooly Cooly in the name.
Yeah. That's okay.
50-50, I think, on that.
That's okay. If we just took out that energy and just put it into a new Gundam instead rather than a FLCL.
Yes. So that's it for this week. We're back next week with the same, but also Kaneki Man will be here.
Yes.
Will Robin Mask have survived?
Probably not, but was going by his history.
That's true. Just got that on Warsman left of this match of fights.
Yeah, the Kaneki Man would be well enough to get in by now.
Yes, I assume at the end, even more Perfect Jojen will show up, and we'll be set up for a fight in a completely different location.
There's another pyramid behind the pyramid.
They only bring enough perfect Chojin to fill that machine gun every time. So
They keep on losing the majority of their matches. I don't see where they get off just starting another tournament.
I'm perfect. I've never lost a match. Now that I've lost, I'll kill myself, thereby making me perfect.
Your Honor, I request a change of venue. He keeps doing this. He keeps delaying his inevitable execution from the Kniku driver.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-ra for now.
Later, Gators.